I'm going to talk about my finances. That includes all of my cash that I have, all of my investments and my stocks, as well as the debts that I have, which is basically just student loans, as well as credit cards, which is a very minor portion. I actually built this up in Excel, which I'll share with everyone. Here it is. So very basic. My banker buddies would be disappointed with my simplicity, the lack of colors. But here it is. Usually a dark blue title with white font is common, but here it is anyway. I have a Citizens bank account. Citizens Financial Group is based in Rhode Island, and it's a bank in the Northeast area. And I have about 35K. This is the cash I currently have, plus a Venmo transfer currently pending. In Robinhood, which is just my own investments that I've chosen, is 23K right now. 2 days ago, it was at 25K. The market's been going up a lot, and in the new year, it just went down the first 2 days of trading. But yeah, for that, I can do a separate video on my analysis for selecting stocks there. But in this portfolio, I essentially took the entire S&P 500 and separated it by industry, pulled in the valuation metrics like price to earnings and enterprise value to EBITDA, and then looked at and sorted within each industry by the valuation metrics, and then looked at the cheapest stocks within each industry and chose like anywhere from 0 to 1 to 2 to maybe 3 stocks within each industry. Usually it's one or two. And basically, I didn't just blindly take the one with the cheapest valuation. I looked at the ones with the cheaper valuations and looked into the companies somewhat qualitatively. For quantitative, for example, I looked at what are their financials and their margins over the past few years. Are they on a trend of growing, or are they on a trend of declining? If there's any particular news about them, look into their balance sheet, see how strong it is. Just a quick analysis of a few different companies within each industry, and then chose one. So it's a value and index-based approach where I'm just overweight or only weighted towards value stocks. Fidelity is a little different. Part of it is three different sort of funds within that. There's the 401k, which is mostly I've just been buying. I think that it's ETF space based off of when I was at my financial firm. They gave allocations to different industries. Then there's a separate Roth IRA where I've selected a few stocks that I think will be very good long term, like CRISPR technology. That's a public stock. ASML, which is a stock in the semiconductor industry that within the supply chain, they own the machines that a lot of these conductor companies buy in order to make the chips. And they're really the only company in that area of the supply chain. So it's a monopoly, you could say. As well as I bought some levered ETFs. So that's done very well recently. And then there's a third one, which is one that I've had since I was a kid before I even knew I had it, where my mom would take the money I got from birthdays and from Christmas and take some of my money that I had from delivering newspapers as a kid and put that into Fidelity, which is just an index fund, which is essentially tracking the market, but maybe a little less volatile. And then I just have some Venmo and crypto, some cash and Cash App. Oh, just regular cash in my wallet, cash and Cash App. Part of that's also in crypto. Money in a Chinese bank, ICBC, which I'm going to convert to WeChat and maybe see if I can start becoming a market maker on Binance, where I start offering exchange rates for people that want to convert crypto into, say, yuan or USD, and then just take the spread on those because the spreads are pretty wide, much wider than you would see in general markets. MPF, when I was working in Hong Kong, that's like a retirement account that they made for us and required to put some money in there. I've never touched that, so it's probably it was like 6,500 Hong Kong dollar divided by the current exchange rate. Coinbase wallet, also have some more money in crypto. As you can see, very minor amounts in crypto. Nothing in my Binance wallet currently. Series I bonds, I bought 10K worth. They're at around 6.8%, 6.9% interest. So pretty good. I can talk about those later. And then Vinovest, just some money within wine, which I put in 2K. Now it's at 2,600. Put it in about 2 years ago. So fairly good returns. Overall, I have assets worth over 110K, more than I thought. In terms of liabilities, I just have 3 student loans at different interest rates. This one, when interest rates were 0 during COVID, this was only at 1.15% interest. And it was like 10 or 15K loan. I think yeah, 10 or 15K. I think 15. And at one point, I sold actually, not sold, I paid off around 10K of it just in one go when interest rates rose. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be paying all this interest. The only reason I haven't paid it all off is because once you pay it all off, it reduces the total amount of time that your credit is basically for your credit score. FICO, they look at the average length of your credit in terms of like how long that credit has been open. And if you have longer duration credit lines, it's a good sign because it means, oh, you've been doing this for a long time and you've been repaying, whereas shorter term brings down your average. So if I repay the entire loan, it brings down that average length of credit, which I don't want. Maybe a pretty high interest rate on just 1K right now is may potentially save me in the future if I get a large mortgage and I could save a few basis points on a much larger loan for a house. So that's sort of how I'm seeing it. These are federal, which I've only kept because it's federal, so it may be wiped out at some point. Probably won't now. And then a private student loan as well, which these now I'm keeping because I can invest that in bonds or equity or real estate, and it's a very cheap form of financing, right? Like mortgage rates right now are it peaked at what, like 6.5. Now it's at 5.5%. Could be wrong there, but yeah, either way, higher than these. Just have a Bilt credit card. You can pay your rent with that. That's not my rent. I was too lazy to set it up, but Discover credit card as well. Basically, I have total debt of 42K, which makes my net worth essentially 70K, which is great. In my opinion, I think I'm in a very good financial spot, especially because when I graduated, I was in debt around 54K, right? I've obviously paid off some of this in the meantime, as I mentioned. So yeah, when I graduated, I was in debt 54K. I had maybe 30K, 35K in cash, or maybe even less. It might have been only 25K in cash. So yeah, it was probably around 25K in cash totals and investments, like assets in general. So my net worth was probably like negative 30K, to be honest, when I graduated college, and now it's 70K. So I'm pretty happy and impressed with that after a year and 10 months of working. I'm definitely not on my way to being rich or anything, but I could be on my way, but it's a long ways away at this rate. I could add in my degree, my diploma, and put as a part of equity, right? This is essentially retained earnings, but I could put in like a separate money spent towards a diploma and then put that as an asset like my diploma. Of course, that would be an intangible, but I just don't want to go into all that because then it requires me tracking how much I spent towards that diploma and saying, is that how much it's worth in the market now? Because I'm able to get higher paying jobs because of it, but no one's going to buy it outright. So I just don't even want to get into that. You could mark it down to market value and say it's zero because no one's going to pay for your diploma, but it does still have an effect where people will pay you more for a job. So I don't want to get into that. I'm just going to ignore the diploma. But either way, yeah, this is my balance sheet. I can go more into sort of my strategies for investing, as I mentioned. But right now, I want to invest more of my cash as well and maybe put some of my investments into bonds. So that's how I'm seeing things, as well as put more into crypto. That's how I'm thinking things now. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions or you want me to do more videos like this or what you're most interested in seeing. And if you're interested in seeing more financial information, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, of course. Gotta say it. It really helps me to potentially achieve financial freedom if we can get this sort of circulating and I can make more videos and spend more time making these. So thank you.